If you want all of your data in one place, if you want a single home for all of your entities, if you want to spend more time working and less time searching, you need the Intuit ERP. I know because I'm Damon John, and I run my growing business on Intuit Enterprise Suite, the AI native ERP that's powerful, painless, and proven. Learn more at intuit.com/ERP.
This episode is brought to you by Adobe Firefly, the all-in-one creative studio with AI-powered image and video generation. Built for today's creative process, Firefly helps you generate, edit, and experiment fast. Because the asks aren't getting smaller, and the timelines? Still tight. With all the best creative AI models in one place, Firefly brings your ideas to life. Learn more at adobe.com/firefly.
And now, listen to this on the Toddcast podcast.
If you've listened to any good Canadian rock radio station, Danko Jones is a staple of the playlist. Been around since 1996, although it wasn't until 98 that he released his self-titled EP. At this point, between the EPs and full lengths, he's 13 albums deep. The last, A Rock Supreme, came out in 2019, recorded at the farm in BC's beautiful Sunshine Coast with producer Garth Richardson. Their new album, Power Trio, is scheduled to be released this year, August 2021. And when Danko was a guest, we talked about comic books and superpowers, knowing that he's a full geek like me. Binge watching The Terrace House, how social media plays into his day-to-day life. He shared his thoughts on legalized marijuana. We talked about Metallica, Motley Crue, Kiss, VIP meet and greets, his thoughts on those. And Danko talked about being handpicked by the Rolling Stones to open up their 40 Licks tour at the Toronto date back in 2002. Listen to this.
You know, playing with the Rolling Stones in Toronto for a gig, and we were asked to play, and apparently it came from the Stones. When I found out more about it, I've heard two different versions. I've heard a few stories about the show in regards to us. So my roommate, and that's a long story, but my roommate gave Mick Jagger a copy of our album like a couple of months before the gig for his birthday when the Stones were in Toronto, and there was a Mick Jagger birthday party. My roommate at the time got in, and he gave Mick a copy of our album called Born a Lion. Then I heard that, and that was straight from my roommate. My roommate told me. Mm-hmm. So I knew that was true. And then I was at a club once, walking into this like restaurant club to meet a friend, and the bouncer took me aside, and he said, "You know, I did security for the Stones when they were here for 40 Licks, and Ron Wood listened to your album every day." So that was a story I wasn't expecting that night. And then I was in Belgium doing press. This is going back 2006, so it's going back a few years. Mm. But I did an interview with a journalist who said that he asked Keith Richards, he did an interview with Keith Richards and asked him who were his favorite opening bands on the 40 Licks tour, because that's when he interviewed Keith after the 40 Licks tour. And Keith Richards said, the White Stripes and Us. And I asked the journalist, did you record that? And he said yes. And I'm still waiting he promised he'd give me a recording of the interview. And I've actually since talked to him. Right. And I asked him last time I talked to him if he had the recording. And he said, I couldn't find it, or he didn't have it, or he forgot or something. I'm still waiting on that interview with Keith Richards and him.
13 years later, yeah.
I really want that clip.
Dude, are you kidding me? Like, what?
Yeah.
Listen to this on the Toddcast podcast is brought to you by Tedco RV Supplies in Langley, an ICBC-approved repair shop. Find them online at tedcorvsuppliesinc.com.
Reality TV is messy. Pop culture is louder than ever. And the internet, completely unhinged. Welcome to Roxanne
and Chantel,
the podcast where cousins Roxanne and Chantel break down reality TV, celebrity drama, and the stories everyone's texting about. We recap the shows, spill the headlines, and sit down with the stars themselves. No filter, no boring takes, just the tea. New episodes every week. If it's trending, we're talking about it. This is Roxanne
and Chantel.
Let's get into it.
Goodbye, Kyle.
Did the sound of those words call to you like Pavlov's dog? Then you might enjoy our podcast, Turtle Time.
Every week, you can join me, Riley Hamilton, and my co-host, Amy Scarlotta, as we cover the most pressing Bravo news and dig into the new episodes to answer important questions like, who the hell is Adrian Malouf in this world?
Listen to Turtle Time on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes every Wednesday and Friday.
Now, before you go hunting for something else to listen to, let me make it easy. I'm Mike Carruthers, host of a podcast called Something You Should Know, and I speak with experts about fascinating things that affect your life, from human behavior, relationships, health, science, and everyday mysteries. We've been downloaded millions of times because every episode teaches you something you'll be talking about later. Open up Something You Should Know and give it one episode. You might just find your new favorite podcast.